The stream may have been silent. Or was it, hey Bingo, how are you going? Let me actually double check and make sure. Okay, it should be good now. I thought I pressed the thing that turns the audio on. I guess I didn't. But how are you going? Yeah, I've learned going through the different ports takes me to different areas. So if I jump over here, and I want to land on there. So I go now. And that one's good. So I guess port 6? Do I want to go from port 6? I guess where does port 6 take me? Back to here? I think? Yeah, just back to here. Okay, so I don't want to go through port 6. Well, there's only a few more options, so I gotta find the right one at some point. Got to check again. Doing good. About to head to sleep soon. It's probably like, okay, all good. But yeah, when you go to bed, I hope you have a good sleep. Bingo. Please land on the thing. Damn it. I should have just waited for the next one. But then again, I'll still get. I won't get this one either. I'll get it at some point. This one I'll get. There we go. And we're gonna want to get on port 2. I forgot to check. I should really start checking. Also, 1, 2, 3 deaths, I think I'm up. Yeah, get onto this one. Now jump over to port 2. Wait for a thing to come across. Now go. There we go. So, don't want to go on port 6. Gotta hit the 300 death goal before the end. Oh, I probably will. I'll probably get to 300 here somehow. But I've figured out I want to get on port 2. Wait for this one to show up. There we go. Now, I don't want to go into... I don't want to go into port 6. I know that at least. Maybe I should just give myself a save once I go through port 2. Maybe that would be a good idea. Now, give myself a save right here. Because now I won't have to worry about going through the other things. Yeah, how are you going, Deads? Okay, just at least jump to here. Now, go. How am I going to jump over to the other one? I don't know where I'd have more luck. Trying to jump straight to it? Or trying to do the other way? Or going through here and then jumping to the next thing? Ow. Doing good. What about you? I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully beating it today. Gonna be heading to the gym soon. I think quick save and quick load are bound by default. I think they are. I think it's isn't it 6 and 9, I think, or F6 and F9? I think I tried them, but I don't know if it but I don't know if it works. Oh no, that was for Portal. Never mind. That was something else. Okay, we go here. Now. Okay, where is that? That's the one that takes me here. So this is the one I don't want to be at. So I want to go through number 4, I think it is. Was it turn this off? I don't want to hurt myself. I'm pretty sure I want to go through port number 4, I think it would be. Why did I go through it then? I think so. I'm only use quick saves in this game. I have to save and load. And about bound to mouse buttons. So I can do them fast. I see. It would probably be a good idea for me to do that. Why did I go then as well? But yeah, because I'm not really loading as much. I'm more saving, even though I gotta go through here. Yeah, probably would have been faster to actually load now that I think about it, but okay, go in now, then we'll jump into 6. Almost completely missed it. Now go here, go. I didn't want to go through it. God damn you, game. Okay, wait. And go. Okay. Old game. I'll get there at some point. One day, I will make it. I'm glad I at least figured out. Actually, couldn't I just... Let's not talk about it. Okay. So, wait here. And when... Okay, go. Damn it. I probably should have put it... Actually, no. I was gonna say, I probably should have put a save there, but it doesn't matter too much, because I could really just do that. I don't know how I didn't notice that before, but... You know, I'll take a win. I guess. Number 9 is electric. Yeah, don't want to go through number 9. Number 9, not a good number. No one likes number 9. Number 7, though. That's a good number. Ah, that one takes me to this place. Which I'm assuming is where I want to be. There's also that thing that goes up and down. I think I want to wait for it to go down. Like that, and then... Okay. So that opens these. Noted. Okay, we'll go for this one. Don't get caught. Oh, no. Hey, at least I made a save. I'll take that as a win. Now, can I do this? I can. Okay, that works too. I hit my head on the way back out, though. Okay. Oh, why did I go for it? I just shouldn't have gone for it. Actually, what if I just make myself a save here? Then I don't have to wait as long. I'm just gonna make sure not to do that. Also, there's 3 more desks. I don't think I actually added them. But have you been up to much, Bingo? Okay, it's back down. Now we go. And go. I'm actually gonna give myself a save here now. And just wait again. I guess I could go now. Or not. Actually, why don't I go now? There we go. I need to get over to that one anyway, which is a bit of a wait. So, save game. I didn't think about this. I didn't think about this. I didn't think about how I'd have to actually go. No. Okay. Oh. I could just wait and be patient. But that's a lot of work. You know, and I actually have to wait then. And, you know, it's a lot of steps when I could have just rushed it. Like that. even though I didn't rush it that time. Now I think I got to jump straight through there. So save game. We'll jump to this. As I was saying, we'll jump to this one and then just... Oh no, god damn it. There's 2 more desks, because I don't know if I marked any of the other ones. Oh, right, I forgot. I don't even have to be at that thing. Now... Have I been up here before? I don't think I have. No, I haven't. This is all new. I've been playing this all day since there's some speedrun races I'm going to be taking part in on Sunday. So what day is it for you, Bingo? Because for me, actually no. Sunday, never mind. Sunday's tomorrow for me. Save game. And I guess are they different speed runs, or are they getting to like certain areas, or I don't know how I feel about it. Hello? It's 5 AM Saturday for me. Oh, okay, so quite early then. People! Help me! Let me in! Please! It's me! Was there anything? Nothing back here. Damn. Yes! I did.
We thought you'd never make it. This is the supply depot for our first survey team. Quite a few handsome specimens were collected from the border world and brought back this way before the survey members started being collected themselves. We suspect there is an immense portal over there, created by the intense concentration of a single powerful beam. You will know it when you see it. I hate to say this, Gordon, but you must kill it if you can. Yeah, you'd better kill it. Of course, you owe us nothing, Mr. Freeman, but you've come this far.
I'm over here.
You know as much about these creatures
I'll
as
stand in front of you. There you go.
Enough to know that if you don't wipe it out, there won't be much for you to come home to.
Yes. So, if you're willing, my colleague is waiting for you at the main portal controls. He will open the gates for you, Mr. Freeman. Don't worry.
Don't forget to gear up, and I'll cover you while you're waiting for that portal to warm up.
Well, I've geared up as much as I can. Actually, no. Grab the shotgun. Nope, can't do anything there. Filled up on that ammo. Good there. Good there. Pretty sure that's all full. All of these are filled. Which, they even gave me that one. Ooh, no, there was actually some up there that I didn't grab. Okay, everything else is full. So, what is this? Oh. Where does that appear at? What was that I just grabbed? I'm not honestly too sure. Me and others, speedrun the whole game, competing for the best time. I see. But yeah, I get... Do I need to worry about that, sir? I'll take that as a no. But yeah, I wish you luck with your speedruns then, Bingo. Yeah, so how long does it normally take you to get through? Or why was I using that when I didn't need to? How long does it normally take you to get through the game? Because I think there was someone saying it took them, if it was you, I think 20 to something minutes or 30 something minutes. Where? Okay, somewhere. Well, I can get up here. And then... get to there. A long jump won't really help me get over to him. I can jump up onto here though. The thing still won't help me though. So how are you wanting me to get up there with you?
Alright, I can open the portal now. The process is complicated. Once it's begun, I must not be interrupted or I will have to start all over again. Don't enter the beam until I give the okay. Understood?
Okay.
I will begin.
Okay, noted.
Not yet, Freeman.
I'll only enter beam when you say good. This doesn't seem good. Oh, hey, buddies. These things seem to take a lot of bullets. I'm also probably not hitting them, but that's besides the point. I don't like, sir. Was he meant to die? I'm assuming he was meant to die. I don't like it all. Me no like it. Ow. That hurt. A lot. Thanks for good luck. For race setting run, I'm aiming for 32 to 33 minutes. Well, that's like the length it's... Actually, how long have I been going for so far? It's taken me about 20 minutes just to get from the room with the teleporters to here. And you would already be more than halfway through the game by then. That really shows you how fast it really is. How do you even get through areas that fast? I'm guessing there's skips you can do to just completely skip rooms. I'm so sorry, sir. Oh, I'm probably meant to keep him alive, aren't I? That's probably... Yeah, that's definitely why I'm dying. Okay, maybe it's a good idea to actually stand here. Because if the things spawn here, I can surely skip... we'll shoot them easier. I'm ready, sir. I think. We totally skipped that big teleporter column room with a grenade boost. I see. I can guess what a grenade boost is. I'm guessing it shoots you up with momentum with the, I guess, the explosion from a grenade. Okay, save game. It's almost time. Almost time to use the thingy. Is it a good idea to stand here? Oh, sir, don't look behind you. Don't turn around. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no! Please! Sir. Sir, it's not looking good for you or me. It's really not. Yeah. Electricity isn't good. Okay, maybe using this one while still being close to these is okay. Or better. Definitely feels better. Oh. Don't worry, sir. I'm dead. I'm basically dead. He was dead too. I mean, standing here definitely helps with the first few. Okay, then we go to here. Take down at least like 2 of them. No! Damn it. Yeah, it definitely helps with taking down the first few, standing up here. Taking down the last one, I think I should get off. Oh, he died. God damn it. I'm just gonna hide in the corner here. Hide in the corner, everything will be fine. Won't quite be fine. Okay. Take you out. Or I guess going for you. Now, you. Now, I can't jump down. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I just hope. If I hope, everything will be fine. If I hope, everything will be good. I think I might have broken it. I'm feeling... Sir, problem, sir, I'm stuck. I can't move. Please. Yeah, I don't know if that was gonna go any better than that. Okay, if I just at least jump, then I won't get stuck this time. Okay, now I'm gonna get down this time. Okay. Everybody over here. Not at him. Look at me. Look at me. Not him. Me. Not it. Not him. Me. Me. Not scientist man. I mean, I am a scientist man, but me scientist man, not him scientist man. Oh god. No. No, please. Not scientist man.
You must go. Oh dear.
How do you get up there in the first place? I jumped from... I can't really explain, but I jumped from the thing from over there. Because you can climb up the ladder, get on the thing, and then jump from there. That's how I got up here in the first place. Was it leave him alone? He's just trying to do a thing. I'm stuck again. Okay. Maybe standing there for a longish time isn't the best idea. Noted. It's a learning progress. Please don't hit me. Okay, now I'm gonna save bit by bit. Come on. I don't like you moving around so much, please. Okay, look at me, not him. Always me. Did he say to go in? I thought you said go into the portal. I guess you didn't say go into the portal. It's an honest mistake, sir. You know, the words are easily mistaken for whatever he said.
We're almost there, Freeman.
Oh, that's what he said. We're almost there. That makes sense why I died. Oh no. No. No, leave him alone. Leave him alone! Leave the man alone! Oh no. Oh no. No! Leave the man alone! Well, back to the shotgun. Okay, I'm gonna quickly save. Go! That didn't go as expected. Okay. Do you want to do the jump thing from here? In we go! Wahoo! Oh, he's dead, but... You know, that happens every now and then. Oops, I didn't do it properly. Whee! Wait, I'm assuming I want to go over to there. Okay. Health. Yes, me like. Save game. Can I shoot you with my crossbow? Yes. Okay, there we go. And then I'm assuming I wanna... Yeah, I do. Okay. Ready to face Zen with a whole 9 HP. I'm not ready, no. I mean, actually 19. 19's better than 9. By a whole, like, 10 HP. But if... I feel like I'm probably going up against the last slash final boss. And I'm feeling like going there with a total of like with a total of like 19 HP isn't the best amount to have. But I mean, I have saves before this. I'm sure I'll do fine. Can I drop down to that? I don't know. I feel like that's too high. Or too low, sorry. And then maybe to this one. Maybe going to this one wasn't the next one, but... You know, we live and learn. And then over to... I'll just add another death. And... Wahoo! So the next one I jump on is maybe that one, I'm assuming. I mean, it seems a bit closer than this one. Does it, though? I don't know if it does. Maybe if I do it without jumping. Oh, without jumping. That helps. I mean, I don't see the thing yet. I know it's going to appear. Probably, but, you know, seems pretty desolate at the moment. I mean, I know there were things inside of the place there. I guess I want to go over to this one. Yeah, I should really get better at jumping. I think that would be a good idea. Wahoo! There we go. Now save here. And drop down. And then drop down to here. Okay, there we go. I made it down to here. Now I guess I want to get on there. If only you did the training room. I did do the training room and I did the jumpy thing. Oh, it comes up. That's good. Whee! Now I'm gonna... Ow! Please! I'm guessing I can't shoot those things. Yeah, there's one of them. Ooh! Do I want to touch you? Why do you... Ow! 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 Ouch. That hurt. That was very nice. You know, I'll take it. I will take it. No, don't you dare shoot me. I'm gonna go in here. What is in there? Hey buddy. Sorry? I guess. There's a really weird... That was a really cool and weird echo. Are those big head crabs? They look like big head crabs. I'm guessing I don't want to touch that ground. Please no. You know how that works. Huh? Wait. Where do I go from here? Do I want to hit these? No. There's things over here. They're like butterflies. Or something else. I don't know what they are. Open. Oh. Do I want to like catch those things in here or do they close by themselves? Oh. Oh. Okay, open all of them. I'm gonna stand over here because it feels far-ish away. I don't know if I want to be standing in the goop though. Oh, they're all on. Do I want to walk through that? Do I really trust it? Is it really a good thing for me to do? I'm gonna do it. Gonark's lair. Hey, Gonark. How are you? Also, I see the head crabs there. I'm gonna quickly save. And let's deal with you two. I can't deal with you two. Now I can. Let's die. Die, die, sir. Aim for the sack. Aim for his sack. Shoot the sack. I'm assuming you're what I want to go for. If I just aim for the sack, we should be all good. Something is trying to eat me. Or something. It sounds like something hit me. It's you. There is things hitting me. But they're like not doing damage. They're just hitting me. Boss time? I love boss time. I say now. Whether I'm always going to feel like this, I don't know. Also, I haven't got a game set up for after this. If it doesn't take me the whole, like, 2 and something hours I have left to play the game. Don't you come towards me. Stay back. Ow. That hurt. Also, freaking die! Stay back! Ow! I don't like being in here. I don't like. Ah! Oh! Please! Please spare me! Hey, buddy. You know what? I'll take. I will take. 8 HP doesn't. 8 HP doesn't seem like the. Zen isn't too long. It's a bit longer than in Black Mesa. Noted. I'm gonna grab whatever this thing actually is and get this gun back out because it seems to be doing a decent amount of damage. Now, okay, we actually made it out. No, leave me alone. Leave me alone, sir. Sir, I like my personal space. Okay, I'm gonna quickly just reload. Deal with these things, please. The mini head crabs, I don't like. They don't seem to actually hurt me. They're just really annoying. Why do the devs bother letting you have 100 HP when you never get above 20? Hey, it is a personal choice, okay? I decide to have low HP as a personal choice. Okay? It makes things more interesting. You know? If I was always on 100 HP, it would be boring and not interesting at all. You see? I would have lived if I had 100 HP. Wouldn't have been very interesting now, would it? Now, I feel like going with this one's a good idea. But while I'm down here and I can, I'm also going to quickly set my other weapon to the crowbar. Because honestly, the thing that makes it easiest to hit the little things, the crowbar. See? Okay. You know what? This is fine. This is completely. Actually, you know what? This is fine. Yeah. This is fine. Okay, he can he can hit me while I'm up there. So we grab this. We switch to here. Reload again. Yep, and then we switch over to the crowbar. Now we can switch between the two. And Bring it on, thingy! Maybe I shouldn't run into you. Maybe that's a good idea for a thing I shouldn't do. I still don't know what that ammo actually is. Okay. Maybe we'll go back to this one. And then we go to here. Rockets. Rockets would also be a good idea. Okay, I think I want to go through all of that ammo first. So, let's get sent up. There we go. Die, sir! No, let me get away. That's the ammo they give you? Oh, they give me... Huh. I've never actually seen that container. Normally it's like the little radioactive symbol thing. Okay. Do that. Go back to this. And... off we go! Off we go! No. Stay away. Stay back. Okay, maybe that wasn't my smartest idea. Maybe start off with the rockets. Yeah, we'll start off with the rockets and then go to this one. Let's see how that goes. Also. Boop. Let's go! Oops, turned a bit too fast.
Ow, that hurts, sir. You should think about people's feelings.
Okay, up we go! That didn't quite that didn't quite work. Okay. What do you mean rockets is the ammo that this gives me? What if I send out some satchels? Run towards me, dear. I was gonna say I dare you. Actually, I don't dare you anymore. Let's leave me alone, please. Ow. I probably should have thought about that a bit more. Okay, I'm gonna keep with the satchels. I'll find something that works. Oh, it fell down. That's probably what happened. What if I just litter him with... You know, I'll take it. I'll take only taking 2 damage. What if I absolutely just... I need to make sure so to not be hit by his thingy. But what if we just throw as many grenades as I possibly can?
What the? What the? Whoopoo!
I mean, there's also the problem of what if they don't work? Ow. And the thing I'm guessing is those doors only open once he's dead. Or once he decides to go through that door. Okay, that also does a bit of area damage. Noted. Could I go through the other area and probably try and come here with more health? Yes. Should I do that? I forgot to grab the ammo. Maybe I should. I don't know. I'll figure my way through this. Nope, don't you dare hit me. Please. Wait, can I just jump down there and then be safe for a second again? But then I'll take full damage. Hmm. Go through. Land!
What the?
Okay, I don't know on that. Let's use these things. Where am I meant to run when he shoots me like that? Wait. Surely the Deagle does a decent amount of damage, right? And you know, we're fast while holding it. Coming in here is not a good idea. It is probably one of the worst ideas, because I kind of trap myself. I think the Deagle could be a good idea. I mean, surely like 20 shots or something like that with the Deagle has got to do some damage. If I live long enough to shoot him enough times, it's got to do some good damage.
Please no.
That's all I needed. The Deagle. Now, little things, leave me alone. Okay. There we go. There you go. Who would have thought all you need is a Deagle? And all it took was like 12 shots, actually. Better than what I thought. Is that hitting him? I don't know if it is. But how do I... How do I get down there without dying? I mean, I can jump over to here. And then... I'm not sure. You see that crystal? Oh, then I can jump to this one. I see. Hey, bud. I'm just gonna stay up here. Maybe I'm not gonna stay up there. There, and then just whee. Okay. Let's save. Do I need to go down here with you? Okay, it's the baby ones. We're all good. Ow. Ow. Okay. I got it before. I gotta stay along the edge. Like that. And then drop down. And then drop down. There we go. Okay.
Ooh.
Nope. I see something over here. No, that's just that thing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And back to this. This seems to be working pretty well. What is the point in these things other than to annoy you also? Or distract you, I guess. Ow.
Get off of me!
Okay, I'm gonna go...
Ah! No! 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 Stay away! Stay away from me!
I can't move because of these things. I guess that's also a use for them. Is it dead? I killed it, and then and then I die. God damn it! Get off of me! I swear, I will smite every single one of you down. I swear these things, they nibble at my legs. Let's reload. Where are they coming from? I also don't know where they're actually coming from. That's also another thing. Get off! Stay away! Stay away from me! Are you dead? There we go. Dead. Now I'm gonna save. And somehow die again. I swear. They're everywhere. Hey, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I don't care. I'm leaving. Interloper? Huh? Why is there a giant alien butthole? I have so many questions. So many. I'm gonna be heading to gym. Okay. Well, yeah, hope you enjoyed your time at the gym, Deads, and thank you for stopping by.
Ah! No! Damn you!
No, I'm leaving. Straight away. Oh, so those things were actually taking some of my... dealing some damage through those things. Okay, 1, 2, 1. Okay, I need to figure out what weapon I'm gonna use. Maybe this one. Okay. Go through here, use this one, and then we'll also switch over to this one. Okay. Okay, back up to 5 ammo. Now we save. And let's see. What? Nope. Torchback! What am I meant to do when they spawn in and can already shoot me? That is a question. I don't know. We reload. Do I want to go through these? No. No, I do not. Don't go through the alien buttholes. Noted. I have learned something today. No alien buttholes. Don't go through them. Also don't... Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also deaths.
Damn you.
Okay, there we go. Now we... There we go.
And there's the flying things? No, not fair.
You don't get both. You get one or the other. Okay. Okay, save game. Over to this thingy. Where is it? Where? Where are you? Where? Oh, there it is. How am I gonna hit them? I mean, I guess I could do, like... Probably my best bet. Otherwise, I don't know what else is to... Huh. Huh. I mean, I guess I could try this. I have to, like, shoot ahead of where it's gonna be. But then I can't really move around too much. Anything else? I mean, there's the normal pistol, but I only have, like, 8 shots in that, and it doesn't really do enough. I guess this is gonna have to do. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4 deaths or so? I'm not really sure what to do. Honestly. I'm quite confuzzled. That's also a problem.
Ow.
There's two more deaths. Huh. There's another death. Okay, so that's not the solution.
What even hit? I'm so confused what to do. No matter where I go, they can hit me.
I get hit by, I think, 1 or 2 of those shots and I'm dead. Might actually have to go back and do the boss fight again, because I'm stuck. Like, I actually don't know where to run to be safe.
Ow.
You know what? No, I'll get through this. I will best this game. I will not let this game best me. Game will not get the better of me. Okay. Quick. Quick. Save. How did that miss? How? Quick. We're good. Everything is absolutely fine. There is absolutely nothing to worry about. They're not coming towards me at all. Resume game. As suspected, I'm a little bit dead. Ow. Okay. Rage at the moment. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna be honest. Get away from to like stand still for a second. But they just don't. They like to keep moving and grooving and don't like to stop. Ouch. Yeah, these flying things. Quite annoying. I would have thought. I would have thought the things that would fly around would be annoying. Do I have to climb upwards after this? What is that? Oh, it's those things. Ah, God. More things down here have shown up, haven't they? No, it's just that thing. What am I meant to shoot them with? Actually, I guess I could shoot them with this. Does that work? If I shoot him with this? That works. Okay. What are you doing in here? Okay. Well then. This where I'm meant to be? What's down here? I must see. I'ma inspect. Hello? Hector. I'm here to inspect your building. Hello? Please no one reply. That would actually be horrible. Okay. Hello? I'm gonna save. I don't trust it. Hey, Stranger Gemini, how are you going? It's my favorite carrot. Let's go. Glad I could be someone's favorite carrot. Are those teeth? Ow. What? Oh. What happened? I'm very confused. I do not know what's going on. Retract your tongue, please. Wait, there was something. What are you? Ow. Why did I run towards it? Unwell yourself? I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, this place has been... Well, before I came in here, I was... Actually, no, I came in here with like... I think 9 HP. And I had to fight a boss. And now I'm where we are. But yeah, I'm going pretty well. I'm actually going away for like a week. Tomorrow, actually. On holidays, which should be good. Health!
Yes! This is everything I've ever wanted.
33 HP, so good. Oh, so good. Ow. You know, 30 HP, still better than what I was at. So, I'm gonna take it. I also think I'm getting pretty close to the end. Oh my god, 50? I don't believe it. I'm actually at 50 HP. Something came in behind me. I think. Oh, this is bringing down one of those things that were up and tall. Very, very tall, actually. Am I gonna ride it? Save. Because, yeah, there's those. Where'd it go? Or is it? It's there. Okay. Save again. Okay, I'm guessing I want to jump onto that. That was close. Now, question is, what is the point in me doing that? Am I meant to be taking... Okay, I need to get to the other platforms. So, I think that's the next one I want to get to. So, let's save. Okay. Yes. Then to this one. Yes. As you can tell, I'm saving a lot because this place scared... This place scares me. Yeah, how have you been doing, Strange Lord Gemini? I saw you were streaming, I think it was Hollow Knight the other day. What is that? Is that new? I think I want to go into it. I think. Oh! Ooh, thingy. New platform.
Oh, I made it.
Also, ow! I feel attacked. I mean, I am being attacked, but the point is that I can't shoot that far with the weapon that I have. And this one, well, a bit too precise. So, save game. Let's see, what have I got? What have I got? Have I got any ammo on this left? I got 3. Not even ammo anymore. When it's at 3. Oh. Okay. What do we got? What do we got? Bazooka. That's no good. I got this. If that does anything. Actually, I still got 25 bullets for the revolver. Maybe I should do that. Oh, stay away. Stay away. Stay away from me. Please. I'm saying please. It's the least you could do. No, not another one. Oh, it's just coming from down there. Okay. That makes... I saw another one out of the corner of my eye. Please. Okay. No, 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 no. Hey, I'm mostly looking right now. I have a bit of a migraine. Okay, yeah, that's all good. That's fair. Well, hopefully your migraine gets better. But if I start getting a bit loud, you can feel free to leave if it is. Because I know I can be a bit loud sometimes, and that probably won't help too much with a migraine. Also, I'm gonna have some water. Probably a good idea. Actually, I think I meant to jump to that from here. Okay, I'll do one more loop, and then I'm jumping to it. And hopefully that gets me out of here. Again. Hope. That's all I can really... is hope. Don't you shoot me. You can't shoot me from here. You'll miss. You won't hit. Okay. How does one get over to there? Okay, maybe go to one of my earlier saves, like this one. That's also this one. Third one. It's also this one. One, two. Fourth one. That's all the way up here. Also, I think I was using the deagle here, or planning to. Please, miss. Okay, save game. So now it's the most recent save, and load most recent save. Also add another death. Does this get any closer? I mean, it gets to like there, but that's still not much better. Load game. Where does this one load me? Quite high. Close to that one. Let me try this one then. Oops, cancel. Save game. Save. I think that was just a normal jump. Let me try it again. Also add another death, because that would have been a death. Okay. Load game. Load. Add another death. Give me a quick second. But I think that I was too high. Hmm. Gotta be what I gotta do. I gotta get to that thing. Surely that's the plan. Yeah, okay, I die when I go towards it. Let me look at the video. I gotta figure out what I'm doing wrong. There's gotta be something that I'm not getting. I mean, I can get lower and do the special jump, but that doesn't get me closer to that thing is the problem. No, so I'm not getting close enough. Let's see. Go back. Back more. Back more. Okay, they get to where I am. Mm-hmm. They're on the big tall thing. Jump to that platform. And they jump down again. Jump down again. Okay, they're on the platform I'm on now. And what do they do? And down another. You can't make it. I'm so confuzzled. After Half-Life 1, you to play Half-Life Absolute Zero. I don't know if there is Absolute Zero. I know there's the Blue Shift and the other one that I can never remember the name of. Which I think I'm going to play them once. I think I am going to play them once I come back though. Yeah. Where are we going to? It's cancel game. Cancelled game that was completed, but oh, so they lost it. But we found Half-Life the game. Maps are missing. Okay. I can have a look for it. I can only search about it. That's what I meant to do. Load game. Go back a few to the low one. Here we are. I was meant to jump on that thing earlier. Okay. Quickly pause so I can get this back up. Okay. So let's, I guess, save now in case I don't make the jump. I think it's this one. Oops. It's either this one or the other one. But I mean, I can at least make it to it. I know that.
No, please.
I really can't land on you, can I? I can. Just I'm not doing a great job at it. Ay. Ouchie. That was just me doing a normal jump. That wasn't even the proper one. Okay. Please. Please no. Please. Ow. Where were the things even spawning from? Ow. Okay. So there, and just that one actually, I think. Okay. Huh. Ow. Load game. Come on. That one I didn't jump properly. What hit me from above? Oh, does something shoot above this one? Or is it this thing? Okay, it is that. Okay, page 3. Damn it. I'll land on it and make it at some point. I swear. Ow. I don't know why it's not dead. 2 hits with the deagle should be enough. I mean, even 3 hits. Where even are you? There you are. There. Okay. I guess I'll just wait again. And I'll actually put a save here. So I'll jump down to here and try and jump on from here. Which I should be able to do. Once it disappears, I should be able to do it. And yeah. I'm gonna actually put another save here. Okay. We're on it. There's nothing shooting at me this time. And I have 22 HP. I'd say that's pretty good, if I do say so myself. Are you making that? I don't know what's making that noise. Either way, we're getting to the thing. I swear, if this one isn't high enough. Okay, there we go.
We made it. We made it out of there. Yes.
You know, I actually almost feel safer in the areas like this. What is saying what is speaking to me? I was gonna say I almost feel safer in areas like that because at least I know there's no flying things. Great, those things are here. Yeah. I'm gonna use this on that thing. One, two, three, four. It was either 3 or 4. One of the two. There's another one over there. Of course they're bringing another one as well. 1, 2, 3. 3, 4. What did he say? Come on. You moved.
No, please no. Ow.
1,
2, 3, 4. Ow.
huh. Let's see. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 with this. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, dead. I swear. I will take them out bit by bit. That's what I gotta do. Now I gotta take you out if I want to go in there, don't I? Oh, there's actually one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. There's another one down there as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's actually 3 I can take them out in. Okay. I will take that. Save game. Now, I want to quickly see what happens if I try going in there. God damn it. Did I save? I did at least. Okay. At least I saved. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So what's in here? What do we got? Some weird ghostly music. Which, is there actually anything in here? In this room? It doesn't look like it. Where that water's coming from? I don't know if I want to know. Oh, great, great, great. Hey, buddies. Ow. Okay, there's quite a few of them in there. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go through that area. Okay. I'll cough for you, buddy. Bubba! Boop. Boop. I'm gonna reload. You'll never see me coming. Boop. See? Never even saw me coming. Boop. Now we will save game again. So yeah, going through that thing didn't really give me anything. I didn't get anything for going through there. Okay, so that gives me more ammo. Got going through there. Bye bye. Okay, nothing in this room. Now let's save again because I got all that stuff. And this is where I want to go. Ooh, actually healing me. I will take. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's one. Now that one, I don't even think is gonna get to me. Or I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to it, I guess. We'll hit it from back there, at least. Oh no. Come on, get up. Or just go back down. That works too. Okay, save. Yeah, that was a good find. I guess if I can get some healing if I need before we move into a new area. But 1, 2, 3. Now I'm pretty sure that seems like everything apart from this dude, which I'm thinking maybe what we gotta do is maybe lure him out and then we can maybe run back through or something like that, maybe. This is my guess. Oh, he knew. He knows. He knows. But he can't catch me in here. He can't catch me through here. Oh, God. I must say that was purposeful. I must say I did that on purpose. I purposefully did that. Okay. Now I save here. And we can jump here, and then get to here.
I didn't notice you two were here. Hey, buddies.
Oh, no. I do. We live. One, two, three, four. Okay, maybe it is four. Yeah. Nope. Nope.
Suck it.
I took 1 damage from that thing, and I got to save. I'm hoping you're alone too, thingy. But I'm feeling like you probably aren't. It's doing the weird thing with my keyboard, where it has me go. When I ever load into a next area, whatever button I was pressing, counts me as still pressing it. Ba-doop. Hey, buddy. Okay, what do I have more ammo for? Eagle, okay. Did I hit him? Ooh, health. One, two, three. Plus one. Take a save. Go. Where? I'm gonna load that last one up. Okay, behind me though. Surprised that I even hit that. There's another flying thing now. Great. One, two, three. There we go. I just want to get through this place. I don't like it. I don't like what's going on. There's enemies everywhere. Ow. I guess I could go up, but I'm just gonna go through the thing. Or this could be a heal station, which I'm not gonna complain about. Hey, buddy. Please, just let me be. When did I get more ammo for this? I don't know when it was, but I'll take it. Okay. Get some health from this thing, and let's leave. Or I guess leave this area. And there we go, full HP. And in the monster infested place too, or planet. Oh, so that goes up too. Oh, I was just gonna plan to ride that part. Because I figured it'd take me up faster. I'm gonna get out of this place. I'm getting out of here. Do you want to go down there? No, I do not. Not where I want to go. Ah. Okay, where am I going to then? I actually don't know. I'm sure I'll figure it out. Can I go through this thing? No. No, I cannot. Okay. Okay, I guess save game here real quick. Okay. I don't know where I'm meant to be going. I have an idea. Okay, standing there doesn't quite work. Well, this is the only one where they don't have a thing. Can I go in here? Oh, I can go in there. Well, that's actually good to know. I thought if I went in there, it'll be death. I mean, who says this isn't death, but you know what I mean. Hey, bud. One, two. Okay, dead. Now, they've given me a bit of ammo for this. Only 50. I mean, I'll take 50, honestly. Okay. Now, I can actually use some of the explosives from this thing if I need to. Oh! Okay. Can't climb that. Can't push these. No. Okay, so whatever I'm doing, it has to be through here somehow, somewhere. I think. Hell of a lot. Sure as hell not down there. Ah, this takes me up. I see. Since when do those things swipe?
No swiping, swiper. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Two. Alright. Okay, there's that. And one. Okay. I'll go back over to this. Nope. Where's my last save? All the way down here. Down. Okay, I think I actually have more HP than what I did before, so I'll take this. Whoa. Now, definitely not better than before. Okay, I'm gonna load the last save. That's a good idea. Okay. Okay. This one and this one. My health is horrible. Now we also want to go. Where is it stopping? One. Okay, kill it. Even with this giving me 1, 2, 3, I could add like 4. I'll add like 3. I don't know how many deaths I actually have had, but I'll add that many just because it's a number. Okay, take that. Save. I still have quite a bit of health. Now we'll. Ow! Really? Like 20 HP just for that? Was trying to run when that was in the way. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 1, 2. There we go. Oh, there's another one. 1, 2. Damn it. Damn you again. There we go. Okay. Now there's those fly. I know there's another flying thing. Pretty sure. So I knew it. Oh, and one of them. Okay. Load game. Okay. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, that should be all that good. I haven't been checking to the side, but we're still all that good. Oh no, it's Primal Pea Shooter that was saying that. Never mind. I was reading the wrong thing. I thought it was someone else. Oh, good. But how are you going, PJ? Primal Shooter. For some reason, I thought it was the other person because both of the names are the same color, and I got confused for a minute.
Oh, it's getting hot. I'm gonna have to take my jumper off soon.
No, no, not another one. One, 2, 3. There we go. Okay. Now the rest should be somewhat enclosed. I'm just gonna quickly pause and actually take my jumper off because it is getting hot in here.
Ah.
God, it's hot. Oh, there we go. Oh, it feels so much better. Okay, let's continue now. Oh. I don't know why I say hello. It's not good when there's a reply. It's also not good. I'm starting to run out of ammo for, well, sort of like everything. They're here. Well, there's things. So it must be good in some way. Must be a direction I'm meant to go. Dude. Ow. Okay. Wait, no. The enemies still around here? They are. 1, 2, 3. Also, I should try and stay around 67 health. 1, 2, 3. Oops, nope. Save with that health. Now we use this for the... we use this for the thingy. Oh no, right, it was another one of them. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay. Yep, then we run. Around the corner. And I feel like this is probably the best-ish. Actually, no, that replenishes health. Actually, no, it doesn't. That's where I first came in. It doesn't. I was thinking of another thing. Ow. I don't like that damage being done to me. Oh. Goodbye, thingy. God damn it. Go, 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 go. Ow! Jesus! I'm actually gonna load. That did so much damage. I'm actually gonna go through here. And now we'll go over to here and 1, 2, 3. Ow. Jesus Christ. Again. There's nowhere in this place safe. Every single corner. Oh my god. Nowhere's safe. I can't go anywhere. Okay, go here. Run, run, run. Okay. We're good. We're good. Okay. Okay, well there's one. Huh. Okay. Okay, that's not good. That's not good at all. Okay. Don't let them break those boxes. Learnt. Learnt and noted. It's safe. I wasn't planning to do that. I was actually planning to do something else. But I mean, that works too. One. I saw you. One, two. How did you shoot? Like that. I'm gonna quickly save. I have a decent amount of health and I've made it to here. I'll take it as a win. I will load the previous game. Okay, so they're giving me these. So I'm a one there. Just run. Hey buddy, come this way. Come down there. Come down. Come on. You know you want to. Do it.
I dare you. Also, I'm gonna really do something.
Yeah, all good. Move that back up. Put that back down. I'll pick it back. I think they're gonna pick it back up. It's a no. Okay. Okay. Health. I see it. Yeah, I don't want these big boxes being destroyed because I know what it means. What's that? Nothing in that corner. Good. I really thought there was. Ow. Oh, so there is still a thing up there though.
Oh, it's damage. So much damage.
Oops, wrong way. Ow!
40 damage. How is it they doing 40 damage? I don't like it all.
One. Out. 2. 3. 4. There we go. Oh, satchels. They give me some satchels. Oh. I am almost out of ammo. This is not good. They're gonna have me destroy this one. I mean, I guess if I run out of ammo, I can always just use the gun that regens. Maybe I should start using that one a bit more. No. Oh, right, my last load was all the way back here, wasn't it? It was. Pick me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now... Oh, you're not dead yet? I thought you were dead. There we go, now it's dead. Okay, now we can come in here. Use a satchel. Boom! Not dead. Really just make a save after I kill these two things. One, two, three. I probably could have just used my shotgun for that one, I'm gonna be honest. Alright. Save game. 1, 2, 3. Give me 1 second. 3. There we go. Okay, now we throw it right there. Do that. And it died this time. Okay, good. Now, save game. And I don't even have enough to take out both of these things. This isn't good. One, 2, 3. 1, 2. There's things down there as well. Oh no. Not good at all. That hurt me more than it hurt them. Where am I? Oh, right. Going into here. Okay. I thought it put me somewhere else. It didn't. I was just being the dumb. This is gonna have to be my plan. Well, there's one of them dead. Is this gonna hit one too? It is, okay. Okay, that's 2 of the ground. One's dead. I'll save after that. I didn't mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. That's why I saved. Not for that specific reason, but for reasons like that. Oh, health. Yes. So good. Oh, so good. Now. Let's see. Guessing I want to go down here. I do. Health. It's so bad. I mean, not my health, my ammo. I don't know what to do with my... I'm not getting more ammo, please. Please, game. I'm gonna save. I don't trust this. Oh, there's enemies everywhere. Okay. Oh god, there's... Okay, only 3 of them, only 3, that's not that bad, there's only 3. Only 3. Only 3. Only 3 of them. I went from 100 to not a lot of health real fast. Okay, no, go up. Switch. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. That most of the flying ones down? I mean, if I can deal with most of the flying ones, I feel like that's most of my problem. Because these other ones I can try and take out bit by bit with this gun. What's going on? What is going on with that platform? It's a weird platform. Go.
Oh, that thing did 75.
I don't know how you're actually meant to avoid them. Once they've locked on and you can't hide behind the thing. All part of a plan. All part of a plan. All part of a plan. Not the plan, a plan. But at least a plan is a plan. Go. Oh, that's where you went. How this is working, I actually do not know. I'll take it. Okay. There's another 2 down at least. Okay. Ow. I think it was that one that hit me. Okay, shoot them with the fast one. It actually somewhat works. And I'm gonna save each time I kill one, because that happens. I be dumb, and the dumb happens, and dumb. Let dumb, like I said. Let dumb happens. Now that one knows I'm here. And now he's here. It's even worse. It's even worse. Because he just doesn't stop shooting. And the bees, they just know. They just know that I'm here. I'm just... Do that. Gotta be a way for me to hide from him and not get hit. And also not let that one see me. Okay, I think what I gotta do, wait for the platform to come down. Without letting that one see me, okay. Trust me, I'll get it. Come down. Now shoot. Now we go again. Wait for it. Go.
One more down. One more less to go. Save game.
And now, I can deal with that. I can deal with this one. Just trust in the plan. Trust in the plan. Trust in the plan. Trust in the plan, and the plan will trust in you. Oh, there was a health thing right here. I could have not worried about my health as much. Ah. It's fine. It just means I save a little bit of time healing there, but it also would have saved time if I just didn't restart that many times, just sat in there. But, you know, I didn't know. Let's save game before we go on to this thing. Now, I saw there was one up there. It's up there. Oh, no, that's not one. I can hear it or see what... I saw one over there at one point, but I can hear one up here. Ow!
2 HP you got me down to, sir.
Ah, of course there's one on there. That would make a lot of sense. Spinny.
No, please.
Ow. Still going. Hey, Des, how are you going? How is the gym? Still going? Yeah, I'm still going. I've got 100 HP, so you know that's a plus at least. I'd call at least that a win. Tiring. That's fair. I end up going to the gym about, I think, probably like twice a year. What if I hide here? And then we just shoot that. No, that's not gonna work. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with the ones up here. There's nowhere for me to hide. That's the problem. And low on that. I can't really use an explosive. I guess I could use that. Actually, I guess I could use these. It's just can't really see them. Or so he said. If they would stop moving, that would be good. Hey. I guess I could get this one as well. Damn it. Wait. We got this. Trust in the plan, and the plan will work. Ow. Damn you. Trust in the plan, and the plan will work. Damn you. Just trust in the plan, and the plan will work. Okay, I'm gonna quit on trying to hit that one. Or will I? Yes, I will. Yes, I very much will. Okay, I'm just gonna load up again. And just hit the one over here with the thing. I wasted so many trying to hit that one. I would also like to not be shot as well. That would also be a plus. Past 300 deaths go. Oh, I didn't even notice. How many am I at? Okay, come on. Keep your little head. Please. I said please. Surely that counts for something. 320. Hey, 100 away from funny number. So that's something. I'm actually gonna heal. I think that would be a good idea. Why didn't I heal before? I didn't think about that. You think I could get a good time just if I save now? Too much angle. Get right here and just... I blame that on that it was spinning. Trust me. Actually, what if I just wait for it to come down and then just whoop? Actually, I have ammo for this thing. I didn't even notice. Every now and then I get a little bit of ammo for it. Boop. There we go. We got him. Yeah, hitting the cylinders. Good idea. Oh, you mean these, do you mean the containers? Is that what you mean? You know, I tend to not like things that look sort of like pine cones. I tend to feel like they're hiding something inside of them. So I tend to just not like them. But if you insist, I guess I have to do it. So maybe they're hiding something good. True. Surely if I just... Ah! You're meant to die! Turns out, not hiding anything good. Not hiding anything good. The plan was really for that thing to die, but didn't quite work like that. Yeah, I did it. Ow, he still hit me. Oh no. Whoa! Whoa! No, the flying things! Huh. Where even is it? Oh, there. Oh, there's another one. Great. There's 2 of them. Oh, there was 3 of them. Even better. This means less... less... I don't know why I was about to say rifle. Basically, just less ammo for me whenever those things are around. Because this is all I can hit them with. I don't trust myself hitting them with anything else, really. Okay. I guess I'll hold this in my hand. Let's quickly save. This is why you save. In case you be la dumb. I mean, only I really have to worry about that, to be fair. Nope. Nope. Leave me alone. Yeah, I have a small problem at the moment, though, is I'm getting very, very low on ammo. To the point where I think I might have to start using this thing a bit more. Ah, so there were things coming out of that. Okay. I take this thing out. Hopefully shouldn't have to worry about it anymore. Actually. Go. Faster. Faster! Go faster! Don't let them catch me. Wahoo! Surely somewhere good. And the talking thing and a giant something. I feel like this isn't good. Ah. Eerie music. And a weird looking thingy. Usually don't go well together. Okay. Hello? I touch? I touch. I really thought it was gonna kill me. Nihilant. What the fuck are you? What the fuck are you? No! No! It's one of those floating baby things. The things that I haven't been liking. Boss time? Boss time when I have like 0 ammo. This is great. This is everything I've ever wanted. I'm gonna, do I take, oh, went, I feel like that wasn't meant to happen. How am I meant to damage you? Well, there's all my ammo there. Am I meant to like wait for him to shoot? And then like, I don't know, do something? Am I gonna die? Whoa. Why do I step on them? Also, I'm gonna give myself 3 deaths because I don't know if I added them before. I see no advantage in launching myself up. Oh, unless it's meant to take... Unless I'm meant to launch up. That would probably make a lot more sense. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it! Oh! What are you saying, sir? What? I'm so confused. What is going on? Also, why did it not let me? Okay, no. Okay, it is, jumping is working. It's because I was technically on the wall before, which is why I didn't jump. I am so confused with everything. Also, it gave me some ammo for a few things, which is good. It didn't give me any ammo for this, but it gave me one for, what's it called? Oop. Oops. Oop. No, I don't trust it. Oop. Nope. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's dead. Okay. It gave me ammo for this. Which... Okay. I mean... I guess it's in a secluded area, so... It's a bit easier for me to shoot it. Okay. Then up onto this level. We get another one. Ow. Okay. And onto here. Oops, 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 oops! This was not my most recent load. That's what I thought. Alright, I don't go to that one. We went over to this one. And then over to this one. And then up to here. Sometimes the jump doesn't work because I'm riding the wall. One, 2, 3. It didn't work. Okay. Everything's fine. I'm not gonna die. Okay. Oh, they died in one shot. Okay, I'll take it. Honestly. Save game. Also, question. Is this the last boss? Because I feel like there can't be that... Surely they wouldn't give me that many more. I mean, hey, at least with this one, they're giving me a bit of ammo. So they're at least being nice. At least being somewhat nice with this one. I guess it's as nice as you can be with a boss. Oh, I thought you had to do the speedy jump for that one. I don't know why I thought that. Okay, I'm guessing jumping into this will take me back. It will. Yeah, wait, where does that one... That one takes me to that thing? Okay. I don't even know if that's hitting him, I'm gonna be honest. Oh no. What is that? Are those things meant to hit me? Or am I just getting... Am I just getting unlucky and bad? I don't like this one. I
don't mind this one.
I'm gonna take a hell of a lot of damage though. As in like die. Amount of damage. I guess yeah. Did I really just miss that? You know, also 2 more deaths, there we go.
Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew.
I meant to be using the other one. I didn't mean to use that one. I meant to use the other one. Does he only shoot that thing when I'm up in the sky? Going towards these things? It seems like he is. I'm not gonna make the jump. I also not gonna live. So, I mean... It was a lose-lose situation, honestly. You know, let's go for this one. Let's go for the little jump. Little jump, here I come! Can I do anything with you? Oh. No? Oh. I thought it did something. I guess it didn't. Yeah, I am quite confused with what I'm meant to be doing. No, dude, also don't get hit by those things. Also, 2 more deaths. There we go. Okay, just keep moving. Just stay moving, and everything will be fine. I'm gonna make it again. I'm gonna fail. Okay, okay. We're not gonna make it. I thought maybe. I guess I'm not allowed to think maybe. I guess I'm not allowed to believe. Please. 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 So that one gives me a bit of ammo of everything. Noted. I guess I'm just gonna have to shoot it with everything I have. Aren't I? First, we're going through all of this ammo. And if this is the last... Isn't the last boss? Well, I'm just screwing myself. But I'm gonna give this every single thing I have. Unless it sends me here. I need time to think. I need to think. Ow! Yeah, I don't like that one. Okay, so it seems like once I do a certain amount of damage to this thing, it then sends me to that place. I don't know if it's damage or I don't know if it's just luck, but... Okay, let's get this one out again. And let's...
Kabooey! Kabooey!
Oh! You can blow those things up.
Kabooey!
Oh no. What's he doing? What is it doing?
It could spawn those things. This isn't fair. This is not fair, sir. Please. Dodge and weave. And you still send me here. I don't like Boss. I do not like him. Boss is mean. Boss is not nice.
There's one. And there's another one. Three, 4, 5. I'm assuming there's another one. And that's all of them. Okay. 14 health. Not the greatest. I shoot you. Oh, I need to get up there. Can you please go up there? I'm guessing you need to go up there to send the thing down. Or I meant to ride you. Oh, maybe I meant to ride them. Guess I'll save. No, this is a good save because I'm going to be going to the boss with like basically no HP, but up we go. Boop. No. No. I didn't want to get squished. I thought going a little bit early would be good. Apparently not. I was going to really check something. Okay, all good. Quickly. Pick that back up. Okay, go now. There we go. Yes, I'll save here. See what we can do with this. Ow. I mean, I seemed to be doing an okay amount of damage. What blew me up? I'm gonna assume it was one of those bombs that I threw. Come on. Just die, sir. Please. God damn you. If they don't hit me, those things get sent. I know. I feel like I don't want to go into those worlds, but I feel like they at least give me ammo and debatable on health. The first one, I definitely gained more health when I lost, but the second world, definitely not. Ow. Yeah, I don't 100% understand this boss either. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deaths, because I think it's about what I've done since last updated it. Okay, rockets. Should I be going to those platforms? I'm still not sure. God damn it, I didn't mean to do that. I'm dead. I'm not dead. How? Ow. He hit me. How? How did you hit me, sir? What is hitting? I'm nowhere near them. One, two, three. I actually want to see. Yeah, I'm not near them. Don't know what the game's talking about. Okay, let's go up. Quick. It didn't even send me up properly. God damn it, where is it sending it? Where is this? It killed me. Okay, so I can't go to that place, otherwise I will die from hitting the ground. I don't like this boss. I would like to put that out there. This boss is despicable. Which I guess bosses aren't meant to be nice, but still. And there's another death. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I mean, if I shoot it with enough of these things, surely that will do some decent damage, right? And if I can avoid those things. I don't know how to avoid them better though. That is a problem I am running into. No, stay away from me. You too. Two more deaths. God damn it. What? No. No, stay away. What is this? What? How am I meant to get out of the... I'm stuck. How am I meant to get out of here without dying? Chasing on the 400 goal. Yeah, I don't like him. I don't like this boss. He's kind of mean and not nice and mean. Am I meant to destroy his crystals? Would you like me to destroy your crystals, sir? Is that what I'm meant to do? Because I can shoot you all I want, but it doesn't seem to really do much. I also have a weird dangly bit, just letting you know. I also can't even make it up here. So, well, I can stop myself from taking full damage, at least a little bit. I guess I'll shoot you with the crossbow. Walls tend to stop bullets. Do you mean his? Or let me test this theory. Let me test this theory. There's got to be a better spot to do it. Here. This is a thick wall. Okay, so I can sit here and at least try and do that. Can I hit him from here? No, I can't. Okay, well I can hit him with the other stuff. Now that does spawn in a little friend. Ow. Normally it does, at least. Well, it seems like this is a little bit of a safety wall. If this is what you meant. Hop around the corner, I dare you. Okay, there we go. Reload this. Oh, okay. Well, that seems like an idea. That seems like a good idea. Thank you for the tip, Dads. Bonk, 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 bonk. Where did he go? Oh, it's spawning one of them. Not good for me. Not good. Where's the other one? Maybe dead? I should save it. Probably save these for the other things. Oh, it's over there. Flying around, doing something. I don't know what. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly give myself a little save. Save game. Save. What is he doing? No, stop that. Stop that, whatever you're doing. Stop whatever you're doing. I don't like whatever you're doing. Stop it. It's not allowed. Ow. Okay. Pretty sure that's spawning. Yep, one of them. Now, yeah, dude, stop whatever you're doing. Stop it. What? It got... Why did it get sent over there? Also, my HP ain't looking too good. I'm at 9. When did I get... God, pardon me. When did I get down to 9? Don't know where the flying thing went. Gone again. It won't let me reload. Why? Why will you not let me reload this? I don't know. Anyway. Surely this has got to end soon. I'm gonna actually run out of ammo. I mean, I guess I could always go up to the top and use that thing. Also, there's the flying thing. Found that. So let's get... Go on again. It was over there. So there's another one over there. They disappear. They're like a spider. You look away for 1 second and they're gone. I swear. I think this green one is actually the worst thing. Because it spawns enemies that I have to waste the bullets on. I'm assuming this is working. Ow. Okay, glad I just saved. What's the found where the thing is? It's up there. Dead. Seems to be falling. Don't know if it's dead though. Yeah, I don't know why I can't shoot that. It says I have ammo for it, but I guess maybe I don't.
Badonk! Badonk! Badonk!
Okay, save. I can probably do one more badonk.
Badonk!
Okay, I can always use these bullets as well. Actually, I can probably use the fast ones. Now, these other bombs are probably... The bombs and stuff I probably can't use. Oh, he definitely sent a flying one. There's nothing behind there. Okay. Nope, he did send one. Okay. Apparently he did. Hmm. Hmm. Alright, over here. I thought there was a thing behind there that was going to attack me, but it's apparently not. Okay. I have nothing to attack the enemy, the flying things with. Oh no. Actually, I guess I have this. This is something. Just not good for attacking them. Oh, what was it? I've died a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4. That should do. Maybe. I haven't really been keeping track. I just want to defeat him, please. Okay. I'll shoot another 18 if that's what it takes. Ow. I will live. If it's the last thing I do. And now we go for a dorm and save. I knew one was gonna be there this time. Ow. That hurt. Why would you hurt my feelings like that? Okay, back to this. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Come on, reload. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 3 more of these. 3 more bolts. Oh no. 2, 3. There's all of my bolts done. Down to fighting with this. Okay. Let's save. I mean, if it comes down to it, I can always just run. Run. If it comes down to it, I can always just run. Run. I need to get up there. Please. Come on. Make it! Make it! Make it! It doesn't even send me to the right place there. Okay, fine. I will just... Badom. Great. Great. It spawned another one of them. Crowbar. Crowbar helps me move faster. Crowbar helps me move faster. Go on. Go on. We'll be good. We'll be fine. Did this send me too high? Why can I be sent up again? Why can I be sent up again? Just run with this. Run with this. Oh, okay, no. There's 1, 2, 3 deaths as well, by the way. Oh, it hasn't appeared. I'm confuzzled. Huh? Wah. Also, I can't really get out of here that well. At least not until I'm already... Not by the time they get out. What is even... Not even anything down here that I can do. There's this thing. Okay. Going down there isn't good for me at all, because, well, I've spent all those thingies. So, nothing here is looking up. Nothing here is looking up for me. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There's 3 deaths. Has he sent it? Has he done it? He has. And another one. Go. It sent 2 of those things. Okie dokie. Last time it didn't. I thought it would not do it again.
Ay. It's not looking
Good for me. I just want to live. Is that so much to ask for, game? Is it really too much? Okay, well the thing's over here. So I don't know why I ran all the way around. I can't even hit that. Yeah, look, I can't even get out of the water. Please, game. Please. Is there so much to just want to not have to deal with this anymore? Is that too much to ask for? I don't know what I'm meant to do. I just don't. I've used all my ammo. I'm so confuzzled. Run. Go for it. Go. Hold the crowbar. Go a little bit faster. Okay, this was the right one. It gave me ammo. Go for it. Go. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, wait for it to shoot that, I guess. And now go. Come on. Leave. Why did I come out for that? How many deaths am I up to? 360. At least from how far behind my thing he is. Go. Please don't shoot me, little things. Please. That's all I ask for. I'm not even gonna make it. Retreat. Go back. It worked. How did it work? No, please. I just... I don't know what to do. Is this what it... Is this how it feels to be powerless? No. No. No, please. It didn't shoot. It didn't shoot me up. Come on. Come on. Come on, game. Why did it shoot me up? Come on, aim for it. Aim for it. Aim for it. Aim for it. No. Damn you, game. Damn you. I see it. It's coming for me. All I have is 5 bullets from this. So I have to hit all 5. 1. Ow. 2. 3. There was some HP at the bottom. You mean down the bottom here? On the ground? It didn't shoot me. Why didn't it shoot me up? Oh, where Greg was. I see. Yeah, my question is, what more can I really do here? Because I'm not seeing many options. HP, HP. There is some stuff. Oh, there's some of this. Okay. There was also a bit more than HP. I just need to figure out how to get out of here is the thing. Oh god, no. No. That didn't even hit him. Okay, 1. There was another one. Where was it? I saw another thingy. Okay, over that way. Go for it. 1. Give it to me. Okay, reload. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Go, go, go. I can make it. We can make it to the top. We can make it to the top. At least I'm not going to die from fall damage. So, I mean, hey, at least that's a plus. Okay, we got a little bit of HP. Some ammo for this. Wahoo! I'm like a dolphin. There's 1. Dolphin time! Wahoo! Dolphin! Wahoo! Dolphin! Wahoo! Greg, right. Dolphin! Wahoo! He finally got me. Or I finally lost it. One of the two. I mean, 2 options. Both very possible. I mean, one of them did happen. But both of them could be true. I'm feeling like I don't have many options for what I can do. I mean, how much damage do these thingies do? Because there is the... I was going to say, there is the strategy of... I can hide behind here and just hopefully hit him with these. And I also need to avoid the attacks from those things. Which is not the easiest. Plus, if he brings more in, there's also that. Surely. What do you say? What do you mean the good stuff? This one's... I'm out of that. This one, it's not shooting. You can hear me clicking. And I hit reload and it doesn't do anything. So I have none of that. These, well, the satchels, he doesn't come down low enough. Those I can't use. These things are going to come for me. Grenades. I guess I can hold it and do a bit of that. Yeah, I broke the RPG. And then, well, this, I can't hit him with it. I guess I can try and... Yeah, my best option is probably just... Oops, wrong thing. Probably just the grenade launcher on this. Otherwise, yeah, it's... The normal pistol. Well, let's just... There's all the ammo for that gone. Actually, I do have a little bit of ammo for this. Well, there's all the ammo for that. It'd be easier if you broke the other two. So I do have to break the crystals then. That would have been good to know. Huh. It would have been good to know before. Because I did hit one of the crystals, but it didn't actually do anything. So I just figured I didn't have to do anything with them. Will they glow? I mean, yeah, but I hit one of them at one point and nothing happened. So I just assumed I didn't have to. So, what if I just go back a bit? A few saves. Back to when I still have... Is this still broken? Okay. Load. Let's go back to like here. How are we doing on this load? On this save? Still the broken RPG. What if I go back even more to like here? How are we going in this one? It's not broken. Okay. One. Well, there's one more down. Now we go one. Yeah, I think the reason it broke is because I shot it into like the green thing. That. And then it went in all weird. Okay. Save game. Save. Oh, another one. Okay, let's go for it. Go for it. Run. Okay, let's hide behind this one. And save game. And go 1. And 2. Because, yeah, I tried hitting that one before. Well, I shot it when I jumped over to it. And nothing really happened. Now let's give this a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ouchies. Wait, at least I have a recent save. There we go. 1. And then 2. And then surely he can't regenerate enough for me being able to go. Oh god, they're shooting so many. There's so many things being shot. Full health is looking good. He's only got one more glowy thing. Surely that means he's low. Damn it. Spawn before me. Or beside me, sorry. Boom. Okay, let me try and deal with these things. Because they're annoying. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And this one we deal with by going 1, and then boom. Or not. Ow. It always manages to hit me somehow. Not another one of these. 1, 2, 3. There. Save here. Boom. And boom. There we go. Okay. Oops. I mean to do that.
Ow.
Okay, I did deal with that one. Also, I had like 2 deaths, or 3 deaths. I don't know how many I had. I think it was 2 actually. I need to add one more. Also, I see that one over to the left. Also, I just noticed he has such a big head. Didn't notice how big it was before. Ow! That hurt! There's another death. Maybe I shouldn't have made fun of his big head. Maybe I offended him by saying that. Okay. I mean, he's actually making hurt noises now, which is more than what was happening before. He's dead! Or dying! I had hope! What is this noise? This noise does not seem good. Well, it does seem good, but also doesn't. Who turned off the lights? Really? Right at the end? There. Okay, now before he's able to do it again, I'm gonna real quickly just... Okay, there we go. I'm guessing he was the final boss, because this is a pretty dramatic, death for a boss. And it's also teleported.
Gordon
Who are you?
Freeman in the flesh.
That's
Or
me.
rather, in the hazard suit, I took the liberty of relieving you of your weapons. Most of them were government property. As for the suit, I think you've earned it.
Where are we? Also, I'm half dead, sir.
Border world, Zen, is in our control for the time being, thanks to you.
Who
Quite
are
a
you?
nasty piece of work you managed over there. I am impressed.
Who are you? Please, tell me.
That's why I'm here, Mr. Freeman.
I think I should be asking, what are you?
Your services to my employers, and they have authorized me to offer you a job. They agree with me that you have limitless potential.
You never noticed this guy? I've seen him walking around the place.
You've proved yourself.
Yeah, I've seen him a few times. It's just...
I suspect you'll have any trouble deciding what to do. If you're interested, just step into the portal and I will take that as a yes. Otherwise, well, I can offer you a battle you have no chance of winning. Rather an anticlimax.
Make a save? Okay. If you want to see both endings. Yeah, I was wondering if I was going to have to do that. Okay.
Time
Wee! Wee!
Wisely done, Mr. Freeman. I will see you up ahead.
There you go. I'm guessing this is where Half-Life 2 comes into. Well, there you go. But yeah, I've seen him a few times, but I've seen him and then he sort of just runs off. But I always went to where he was, but he just disappeared. Yeah, I want to know. I don't know if I want to know what he is or who he is. I'm quite confused. Wah. Oh, they're not going to do it again? Oh, I got a call. Who from? Come on. Is there meant to be music with just a black screen, or is there meant to be more credits? Well, I guess I'll go to the other save. It's ended, so I'm guessing that's the end. So, load game. Most recent one. And let's see what happens if we don't walk through the portal. I'm just gonna take a seat. That's the disability seating. Can I fit in here? No. Can't quite fit in there. Okay, I'm just gonna have to sit here. Sorry, sir. I don't know why I'm apologizing to you, but... I'm not gonna go through the portal.
It looks like we won't be working together. No regrets, Mr. Freeman.
I see. So, did he just send me there, or does he control them? I have many questions now. Also, I need to reply to a message I got. Okay. Well. I guess. I'm guessing Half-Life 2 would go off of the end of that one. If you go through the portal, I'm assuming. I don't know. I guess I'll figure it out. Blue shift next. You'll see. I guess I will learn. We'll figure that out. But yeah, blue shift I'll probably do when I come back. So that'll be in like a week. About a week from now ish. Probably Monday or Tuesday or one of the days because I get back on Sunday. So and I guess that's the end. Well, yeah, I guess if I play Blue Shift and the one that I cannot remember, I guess I'll do them next, and hopefully, I'm assuming I'll learn something. Wait, huh? I can like it. I can jump. Can I use replay Half-Life and what is the Half-Life source? Isn't it just a source for it? I think. Because I did see that. Reply something again. Okay, anyway. You got some HD textures, but same game. Okay, so like a remastered, I see. I think all I can really do now is just... What happens if I do click this? Oh, it just brings that up. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll quit game because there's not much more to really do. But, yeah, so I guess next game I stream will be, Blue Shift. And, yeah. If you got time, I can recommend, some short games. It's actually around time I finish now. So, I'll probably leave it there. And, yeah, so, like I said, about a week-ish is when I'll do, Blue Shift. And then after that, I guess I'll do Opposing Forces. And then I'm not sure what after that, because I'm also not sure when I'm getting my PC. Depends when things get in stock and everything. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the stream, whether you're here from the start, halfway through, just joined. And yeah, now I need to... How have I already forgotten all of my things? But yeah, I hope you have a good night, day, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is for you. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoys their week, and I guess I'll see you next week. See ya.